Welcome to the Lay and Your Bet Sports Betting Show. Good night here on Wednesday. We're going to get into Thursday's 3-game slate. I've got 4 picks this morning for you guys. Also going to be coming back with that live stream, 5:30 p.m. Eastern. Special guest Jedi Modai will be there on me. We'll be going back and forth, taking a look at some of the bets that you guys like, and then getting into the stuff that we like as well, going through the tools that we're using to make sure you know exactly how we're finding the bets we find. Love doing that with you guys every day, 5:30 p.m. Eastern. Also got the Discord link in the description. Already put the bets up that I've got in here onto the Discord, so you get those a little bit early and make sure that you get those bets, the odds that you need to play the same stuff that I'm playing, make the same units back, right? Let's take a quick look at how we did on Wednesday and then jump right into this slate. 4-4 on the night, plus 0.6 units. Portion them correctly, so we kind of avoided that VIG there from the books and make sure we get plus money on the night. Going to look to do a little bit better. K-Love, we should have just gone with the rebounds. Peyton Pritchard went out on the limb and didn't take the core bet. I tried to get the alt over 3.5 assists instead of the 2.5 and lost that. Trey Murphy did not hit enough threes, and Josh Giddey played the whole fourth quarter because it was a complete blowout, and everything in that game except for Larry Nance was a complete travesty. I know for most of the people in the Discord, but let's move on and talk about these best bets I got for Thursday. Kicking it off with DG the PG, Darius Garland over 15.5 points. Pretty much even money there on DraftKings for a full unit. We're doing a zig after the DG zag because he has not been taking the amount of field goals that we would like him to take. Now he's in a situation where he still butted up against this 14 and 15 point margin here. That's what he had in the first 2 games, averaging 14.5. But he only took 11 field goal attempts. And normally he's taken 15 to 16, right? And that's what he was averaging on the season, even with Donovan Mitchell in there. So it's not like Mitchell being in there has really made his points go down below 15.5 points. In fact, this prop was at 16 and 17.5 points for the first 2 games, and he failed to hit it. So now we get to a little bit of a premium there, and we get 15.5 points, which is nice for us. In the games where he's played 31 minutes, which he played 31 and 35 minutes in the first 2 here, respectively. In the games that he's played 31 with Donovan Mitchell, to make sure that we're not getting any outliers where he played as the sole, scorer in the backcourt, he still averaged 19 points per game. He averaged 16 field goal attempts per game as well. And in all 3 versus Orlando this year, he went over. He had Donnie Mitchell. He took this many shots. So to me, the outlier is the first 2 games of the playoffs where they went really heavily down low. A lot of passes to Jared Allen, a lot of stuff even to Evan Mobley. And I think these shots are going to be dispersed a little bit more towards the guards now that we're on the road. The defense kind of clamps up a little bit for Orlando at home. Really, really, really good home defense. So we're going to take Darius Garland to get out of the small rut, which isn't even a rut. He's been super efficient shooting. He just hasn't taken the shot. So we're going to expect his volume to rise to a place to get us to 16 points in this one. JoJo Embiid once more. It's as safe a bet as we've had this playoffs. Over 9.5 points for Joel. In fact, it's been as safe a bet as could be imagined on the season. And especially since he came back from injury and has sort of been doing a lot more work up front in these games rather than in the second half, which has been the case as well for him in the playoffs. The last couple seasons, his second half numbers just drop precipitously after averaging like damn near 20 points in the first half. He'll often have about half of that in the second half. So for this first quarter bet specifically with the full unit on it, 12 minutes in both of these games in the first 2. He's played 12 minutes in all 3 games he's taken on the Knicks this season. In these first 2, averaging 13.5 PPG, points per game, 9.5 field goals, 4 from the free throw line, and even taken 3 threes per first quarter as well so far. And like I said, he's done this in all 3 versus the Knicks this season, played 12 minutes in all 3. I even dumbed this down to just saying how often does he do this when he plays 8+ minutes, right? And when he plays 8+ minutes in the first quarter this year, he's got 16 games doing that. 15 of those he went over, right? I mean, and he does this consistently in terms of at least 8 minutes because he's only played at this point in like 45 games on the year. So doing it in 8+ minutes in 16 out of 45 games, you can expect that to continue in this one where he's done it already in the first 2. In the games this year where he's played 8+ minutes in the first quarter, 14.5 points per game, and all the other stuff, the volume stats in terms of how many shots he's taking, how often he's getting to the free throw line. All that stuff is consistent with what we've seen for him in this Knicks series. So we're going to take him to continue. I think this thing is wrong. It got bet up from 8.5. I gave it out in the Discord nice and early to make sure people got that before it moves up to 10.5, which it might before close. Another bet for this first quarter Knicks and Philly game. We're taking the Philly spread here, -2.5. That's first bet. You can see 2 bets here. The second one is very long. The first one is -2.5. You get that. I'm putting 0.7 units on that because I got another 0.5 coming on this secondary bet with it. But I still like that one. And then the first quarter money line parlayed with Maxey to get 4 in the first quarter, parlayed with Embiid to get 8 in the first quarter. That's plus 138 on DraftKings for a half a unit on that. And so where I'm coming from is Philly coming out swinging. I mean, this is like about as sort of noob or almost square as of a bet as you can imagine these days in the NBA playoffs. You've got the home team down 2-0 as they come back for game 3. Rearing to go, not going to get swept, looking to make this a series again by winning this game and getting right back on the horse, right? I think they're probably going to do that for the full game, but I'm also going to take them to come out and go crazy in the first quarter and just win this one straight up at minus 2.5. The other bet here, just to incorporate the Maxey and Embiid stuff, you know what I like about Embiid, first quarter monster. The thing about Maxey is you're getting plus money to get him over 5 plus 5.5 points, right? And what scares me about that, if you want to take the core bet, it's plus money, but the books are just baiting us. They really want us to take it. That's my first hesitation. And secondly, like, he's coming out in the first quarter. Joel plays the whole first quarter, and we've seen Maxey come out at about the 9-minute mark, 3 minutes left in the quarter, because he's going to come back in the second quarter and run that second unit when Joel spends the first part of that quarter on the bench, right? They don't want them on the bench at the same time. So this is a little bit how they staggered these minutes. He's still got 8 points per game in the first 2, but he's hit 2 of 3.5 3-point attempts, right? So basically he's hitting 2 a game. One was 2 of 3, one was 2 of 4 from deep. And that's most of his field goal attempts. So 5 field goal attempts, 3 or 4 of them coming from deep. I don't want to have to rely on him to hit one of 3 from the field or whatever after he hits a 3. I don't even really want to rely on him to have to hit a 3 to get this. So I took him at the 4+ points to trim that down from the 5.5 that it is for the first quarter, because I'm weary of the books, and because with the amount of field goals he's taking and the amount of time that he's getting in the first quarter, I'd rather have him at 4+ points and parlay that with everything that we've got in this bet. Final play for now, before we get into that live stream, 5:30 p.m. Eastern today, Jamal Murray game 3. This is where we're at. 23.5 points. I'm going over that. And there's a couple of things here. It's not just that he's done this in game 3, but I'll talk about it. 25+, that's on FanDuel. So the alt ladders plays here are 25+ on FanDuel, 30+ on FanDuel, and that's plus 310 on your money, minus 120 on DraftKings for the core bet. It's a little bit better juice to take the core 23.5 point bet on DraftKings. So that's 2 separate books that we're using here, but still laddering this stuff up for Jamal. Positive regression is coming. So that's a big part of this as well. He was 9 for 24 in both of the first 2 games there, and he's still right up against this, similar to what I was saying about Garland to open the episode here. Like, the 24 shots that in both games, he can't shoot 9 for 24. So for Garland, it was like, yo, the volume is going to go back up. For Jamal, it was like, the volume is going to be maintained, but we are going to take him to improve the percentage for himself tonight after shooting so poorly in the first 2 games. The other thing is, he was 4 for 14 from 3, and he had 27. And this is combined in games 1 and 2, 27 uncontested field goal attempts. So this isn't Lakers defense. This is Jamal having a bad couple shooting games at home. But now we get him in a situation where game 3 last season, the only game that he failed to go over this was against the Nuggets in game 3 and their building. But the other 3 games there, some really, really nice numbers in game 3, averaging 34.5 a game in those 23 playoffs in those game 3s. And that was against Phoenix, 32 points. LA, the Lakers, 37 points. And then in the finals, 34 points against Miami. In fact, he had a triple-double against Miami in the finals there. And then the first 2 games, he also had 7 boards and 6 assists, 6 boards and 5 assists. Like, he's got some nice numbers here in game 3. And on the road, I'm just going to take him to get out of his shooting slump at the same time where he seems to step up big in this situation. So we're going to keep riding with that and take Jamal Murray with some ladder plays here to get us hopefully some nice juicy units on Thursday night. And that is all the time that I have for you guys in this one. Hopefully you get to this in time to get these good numbers that we've still got on some of these plays I put out there. Jump into that Discord, link in the description. Going to continue to be putting these things out early for you guys, or a little bit earlier in the Discord than the videos. Still getting these out as fast as I can. And then also want to remind you, 5:30 p.m. Eastern, got Jedi Modi, going to be jumping on, playing some of his picks as well. And then we'll together be looking at the stuff you guys want to look at when you jump in the comments and let me know about the bets you want to play. So until I see you next, happy betting.